Humanos of the world. Today, you and I are going to be having a very simple conversation about tracking your key performance metrics. Now, I'm about to read a book to my son tonight. So, for those on YouTube, you'll be able to see the book. On the podcast, you won't. It's called Play to Win by Andy Frisella. And look, when I was reading this morning, before I read it to Maverick tonight, is it really just reminded me of a really great concept in business that I've used for a long time, okay, which is just using business as exactly like a sporting game, okay, being able to track where you're at and making sure that you're winning more than you lose. Because guys, business is really tough. Let's not ever pretend that it's easy. There's so many things happening with changes, with staffing, with everything that we have to deal with. Okay. But if we think about it like a game where we're looking at our metrics each week, which I'm going to cover a lot for you guys here today, and you're winning more than you're losing, you're going to have an amazing business. And if you win more weeks than you lose, your business is going to grow consistently every single year. Okay. And it is going to get better. Now, I grew up when I was a kid. I played a lot of sport, played a lot of rugby league, played a lot of cricket, played those at a reasonably high level, then played AFL after that once I kind of stopped taking sport as seriously and just wanted to play with my mates. But it always kind of taught me that you always have to play to win. You always have to be tracking the score. You always have to know where you're at. You have to know that when you win, it's great. You can always get better. You have to know that when you lose, that it's meant to hurt. But again, it's just a way to get better. And a lot of business owners that I work with, okay, is when they first start with us, they're not actually tracking their metrics, which is your key performance indicators. And this is a way that you know whether your business is winning or losing every single week. And it is something that you just have to do if you want to grow an incredible business, because you can't just be growing your business blindly, hoping that things are going in the right direction, because then sometimes, guys, you get a little bit emotional about what is happening within your business. You might think that, for example, you have a lead generation issue and you need to get more leads when actually you have a retention issue or a sales issue, or, there are many different things, that can happen, when your business isn't growing in the right direction that you want it to. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, run through some KPIs of a business that I work with. This is a credible business. They do just a little bit over $100,000 every single month. And I'm going to break down what we track for them. And I'm going to break down the reason why I get them to track it, the reason why I need them to track that for me. Because, guys, if you have a business coach or a mentor, and if they don't know your weekly KPIs, just know that you're hiring a consultant. Okay, and not an actual coach, because someone can't coach you off numbers in business. If they don't have the numbers of your business, they have no fucking idea what is happening within your company. So just know that you're hiring a consultant, which most of you don't actually need or want. You make sure that your coach is looking over your metrics every week. Otherwise, I'll openly say this and you can say that I told you to do it. Just fucking fire their ass, because they have no idea what they're doing and they're just giving you random tips and tricks, which, to be honest, you can get from listening to this podcast. So just fire them. You're wasting your money here. Okay, but let's go into what we actually track. Okay, so again, this business is doing seven figures, so there's a fair bit that we track. So the first one that we like to track is obviously our income. Okay, so we're tracking this on a weekly basis, right? Doesn't matter what day you track it, just it's the same day every week. So how much revenue did the business collect? Obviously, we want to see that growing, okay, over time. Then we track how many active members that we have. So within that, that'll be people actively paying on a direct debit or actively within a 6, 3, or 12-month agreement that they've paid in full. That doesn't include, okay, people who are currently suspended or canceled. Okay. Obviously, we want to see those numbers growing. So your members clearly align with your income. Okay, but we can see income spikes with certain businesses that we work with. The amount of cash that we're directing that business to collect up front differs. Okay, but two very, 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 very clear numbers, okay, that we must track initially. Then we want to track how many leads we've gotten. Okay, so this is the total leads for the business. So this would include like walk-ins, paid ads, Google, website leads, referrals, and things like that. So just like a top level. Okay, now we're not going to break down in this specific example, like some of the businesses I work with doing like two, three, four, $500,000 a month. We go a lot deeper into these metrics, okay, on a weekly basis, but we're not going to do so today because we just want to keep the metrics something that we're actually going to coach from. Okay, but how many leads do we get? Obviously, how many leads that we get is clearly going to determine how many sales we're going to predictably get over the next 7 days. Business gets 100 leads. We know roughly they're looking at 10 to 20 sales in the next week, maybe more, depending where those leads are coming from. Okay. If they're getting less than that, right, we can start to predict kind of what's happening within there. So leads total is a very important number. Then we track how many referrals we get. Okay, we're looking to get consistent referrals in a business, not just crossing our fingers that someone's referring randomly. Okay, we want to implement the systems and structures that we teach people to get consistent referrals. Thus, we need to track it. Okay, then we're going into all the paid ads metrics. Okay, all of the businesses we work with that hit seven figures are running heavy paid ad strategies. Yes, you can hit seven figures in your business without paid ads. It's just going to be fucking difficult and challenging. So let's just learn to run paid ads so we can do things the easy way. Okay, we're tracking their ad spend, right? How much money did they spend in the last 7 days on their ads? How many leads did they get from that ad spend? How many consultations did they get booked? How many no-show consultations and how many members signed on a contract? And we're going to go a bit deeper on that. So that just gives you like the basic top levels. That's all the business owner kind of needs to know. Okay. Obviously, we're running their ads. So we track, cost per lead, click-through rate, all that different stuff. But that's just the top level, okay, that this business owner could look at and they could manage their business from, say, they're going on a trip to France very soon. So they'll be able to look at these metrics and know if their business is doing well or poorly from France, which is really all you want in like a dashboard of KPIs. Then after that, we're tracking how many cancels that business got. So this business specifically does like 28 days notice to cancel. So we're tracking the date that someone gives their cancellation notice. So say, for example, if I give my cancellation notice to this business today, that would be tracked in the metrics next week, not when their cancel actually kicks through. Okay. Then we're also tracking how many cancels they get from non-payment. So they have a system, where if people stop paying, it's like a three-strike thing, then they cancel. So then what we had to do when I was coaching them is we're getting the cancel numbers, but I was like, look, how many of these cancels are actually from non-payments? Okay. And then we'd break that down so we knew that number. So this kind of KPI dashboard, we're kind of probably going to track about 15 to 20 things. I don't know exactly, but I'll talk you through them. Okay. But it started with just about 7 things that we're tracking. And then because I'm working with this business owner like very, very closely, is then we're looking at things at a deeper level, okay, based on information that myself and this individual need to know on a weekly basis. Okay, then we have our total signups. Okay, then we have our signups from different trial offers that they have. Okay, then we're looking at how many members are they signing on month to month, 6 months, and 12 months. So, we're tracking like that. They got, 20 sales last week. Last week they actually got 28 sales. But then off those sales, how many were on a flexi membership? How many on like 6 month membership? How many on 12-month membership? How many people paid in full? And a fair few different sales tracking, metrics within there because, one of the things that we looked at when we were looking at their customer lifetime value in depthly, it took us like a couple of hours to do it together. Is obviously we noticed like, hey, when someone signs up on 12 month, they pay us way more money than if they sign up month to month, which I know is like probably you're going to be thinking of like, yeah, Jimmy, no shit, Sherlock, that does make sense. But sometimes like not every business is the same. Okay. But obviously in this example, it's like, hey, let's just like really focus the sales systems on getting these people to sign for 12 months because we know it just makes the business a lot more money. So then we started to track those. So then we can start to have a look at what the sales team are actually selling. Okay. And obviously train them to be able to sell more 12-month memberships rather than month to month. Okay, then we're also tracking, okay, how many suspensions that they currently have active. And a really important metric that this business wanted to track, it was like, it's not make or break on the business, but it's important. It's like a monthly theme, would be how many Google reviews they are getting. And so that business, right, when we can have a look at it, I meet up with them on a weekly basis, right? I'm able to have a look over those metrics in about 5 minutes and know exactly, where we need to head. Every metric has a target. So say, for example, on the lead target weekly, it might be 30 leads. Now, when you're using this, we use a basic Google Sheet, guys. You don't really need anything too complex. I really like Google Sheets. It works really well for us and my clients anyway. Is we just use a red or green light system. So green means you hit the target. So say, for example, if we want to get 30 leads a week total, okay, if we got 31, that number would be green. The next week, if we got 24, that would be red. So I like the green red light system. So then you can start to color code your metrics and what you want to hit. So you can just look straight through and go, cool, red, 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 red. Right, here's what we need to focus on, or what is the biggest bottleneck from those reds, or are they actually a bottleneck? And then as you grow, guys, like, this business has like over 1,000 members, is when you're thinking about growing, is one of the things that you have to understand is your metric targets get higher. So say, a business at 100 members, you might be able to get away with like 2 or 3 sales a week, right? Is some of our bigger businesses, like if they don't hit 15 sales every single week, there's like alarm bells flashing like all over my phone, all over my Slack, all over their business, all over their KPI report. So you've got to be okay with, as your business grows in terms of revenue and staffing, that your standards need to, obviously align with that. So your numbers on what you want to hit per week, say in a lead target or a sales target, will always just continue to grow as you go to another level within your business, and as you're trying to hit obviously new revenue levels, new profit levels, new growth levels, and things like that. So, guys, the big lesson that I want you to have off the back of this, it's not a complex one. It's track your metrics each week. Okay. Make sure you have a target on those metrics. Okay. Just go red or green, right? Green if you hit it, red if you didn't. Give yourself a little meeting. I know a lot of you, might not want to coach at the moment or whatever. Just, you're going to have to run this meeting yourself anyway at some stage. So, in the example I gave you today, I meet this individual and we just look over their metrics and do our game plan. But even as I talk to them, I go, there's going to be a time we aren't coaching together, right? And there's going to be a time, whether you don't have a coach now or whether you do, there's going to be a time where you do this solo, and you fucking have to do it solo. You can't rely on a coach. It's like the dumbest shit ever, right? You have to know how to do this yourself. And so just organize a 30-minute meeting with yourself. Have a look over the numbers. Go, cool, right? We didn't hit our lead target. What are 3 to 5 things I can do this week to make sure we hit it? Is that the number one metric that we need to hit to be able to grow? And if you do that consistently and you focus on just 1 or 2 metrics to be able to improve, right, your business will consistently grow. You'll become an amazing business owner, and you'll start to win more than you lose. Okay. But if you're not tracking your metrics, guys, you have no idea what is happening within your business. So track your metrics, do it weekly, do a 30-minute meeting with yourself, treat it like a game. It doesn't matter if you lose, you learn. It doesn't matter if you win, because again, you just have to learn to get better. And then just start to do that repeatedly. I like to use notepads. So when we do our, key performance meetings, like we have quite a big team, obviously, but when we're kind of meeting our heads of department, I just use a notepad, go, Roger that. What's our number one big focus this week? If we get that, how's it going to move forward? And we're just focusing on one thing. So, say at the moment, we have, our big focus is like we're in growth phase. We're overhired within our business right now. So I'm like, look, we need to get X amount of people starting in our programs, right? Everything else is good. If we get this number from 20 people starting to 40 people starting a week or whatever it might be, is we know that everything's going to fall into line, right? And so once you start to do that, guys, you'll be very self-sufficient. You'll know the health of your business. You'll become a better business owner. You'll be laser focused. Okay. But we want to make sure that we track our metrics, and we want to make sure, okay, as Andy Frisella says in this book, that we always play to fucking win, baby. Bye bye, guys.